back. And if you're new to our channel, welcome.
Yeah, and subscribe, new people.
My name is Nikki Moon, and this is
KB.
And thank you for tuning in and sharing your time out with us. This is Bedtime Stories with KB and Nikki Moon.
And we're going to read Giants in the Old Days.
We're actually going to be continuing a book that we started the other day. It's got a couple of stories in it. We've already read 2. So tonight's bedtime story is... She's going to find it. KB's going to find it for us. So in the meantime, we hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. Did you guys do anything fun this weekend? Comment down below if you did anything exciting and what your favorite part about this weekend was.
I can't find it in. Oh, here it is.
There it is.
Okay, so we're going to read.
So this book is called Larger Than Life, The Adventures of American Legendary Heroes by Robert DeSansuki. And the story that we're going to be reading is called...
Giants in the Old Days.
No. What's it called? Go to that page.
It's over here.
All right. It's called Slue-Foot Sue and Pecos Bill.
There you go.
All right. One hot Texas afternoon, Slue-Foot Sue decided to walk to the Rio Grande. She had finished roofing the new hen house and felt the need for a river breeze and a catfish ride. Sue was a big, brawny girl who could do the work of 10 men. She had spent the morning branding cattle, shoeing horses, and building a hen coop. Now she stopped by one of the sheds and took out a long leather strap that was neatly coiled up. With this over her shoulder, she hurried on to the river's edge. There she put her 2 little fingers between her lips and whistled so loud that people in the next state reached for tea kettles that weren't even on fire. Can you whistle loud? No.
But what is that?
I can whistle pretty loud. I don't know.
It's a flying thing.
In answer, a catfish bigger than any whale swam up to the bank. It waded in the shallows, twitching its whiskers, while Sue put the leather strap around the fish's middle. Then with a cry of yippee, yippee, yay! She and the catfish plunged into the river. They raced against the current, with Sue holding on to the strap like a bareback rider. Her long copper-colored hair flowed out behind her. Yee-haw! Yelled Sue as they rounded a bend. Yee-haw yourself! Called a voice from above.
Yee-haw to yourself!
Looking up, she saw a near giant of a cowboy on the finest-looking horse she had ever seen. Sue waved her bonnet at him and cried, "Howdy!"
Howdy!
He waved back, and she steered her catfish into a cove. When both had dismounted, the cowboy took off his hat and introduced himself. "Name's Pecos Bill," he said, giving his mustache a twist.
Not like this.
Oh, yeah. This here's my horse, Widowmaker. He gave the horse a pat on the flank. My name's Slue-Foot Sue. Try saying that 5 times.
Excuse me.
Try saying that 5 times.
What?
Slue-Foot Sue.
Slue-Foot Slew. Slue-Foot Phil. Slue-Foot.
Slue-Foot Sue. Slue-Foot Sue. Slue-Foot. That's hard.
No, I got it. Slue-Foot Slew.
Slue-Foot Sue.
That was one. Phil.
No.
Phil.
Slew.
Phil.
Slew.
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 Foot.
Foot.
Sue.
Sue. Sue. Foot. Snow. Snow. Foot. Snow. Snow. Foot. Snow. Snow. Foot. Snow. Snow. Foot. Snow. Snow.
Good enough. Good enough. Good enough. Good job. High five. High five. I'm called that because of this trick foot of mine. She showed him how her right foot turned in toward the left. You're already pretty as bluebonnets on a hill, said Pecos. Seems that only makes you more special. Then he turned red as a tomato, and Sue could see that he had fallen for her.
And guess what, guys? I have emoji pants, emoji shirt.
Very cute, KB.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Sue unfastened the strap from around the catfish and sent it out into the river with a gentle slap. "You're turning him loose?" asked Bill. "He comes any time I whistle," said Sue, tossing her coppery hair. That seems really fun.
Yeah. Even though you like me.
All right.
Even though you love me singing. La, 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 la. That's Peppa Pig. I love Peppa Pig.
I know you do. "Well, it sure was nice making your acquaintance, but I've got to be headed home now." "Can I walk you there?" asked Pecos, and Sue agreed. As they strolled along with Widowmaker following, Pecos told Sue how he had been raised by coyotes, tamed a cyclone, built the Perpetual Motion Ranch on Pinnacle Mountain, and lots more. "Had a few adventures myself," said Sue. "Remember the big rain last winter? That rain was a gully washer and fence lifter, all right," agreed Pecos with a shake of his head. "My daddy's ranch would have been flooded out for sure," said Sue, "if I hadn't whistled up some of my big old catfish to make a dam around the ranch and keep the water out. But the worst was the barn blew down, and I had to keep the cows and horses under my slicker until the rain let up." "You're some gal," said Pecos. So they walked and talked, and somehow, though it was only a short distance to Sue's house, they didn't reach there until nearly sundown. Sue introduced Pecos to her mother and father, who were polite, but didn't make him feel very welcome. They sat him in a room filled with spindly, shanked furniture and fancy things from back east, and only wanted to talk about the weather. But after saying that it was mighty hot and don't look much like rain, Pecos ran out of things to say. It got pretty quiet in the room then, until Sue's grandmother burst in. She shook Pecos' hand as if she were working a pump handle. "You got a mighty fine grip," Pecos said, wiggling his fingers to be sure they were still working. "You bet," she said. "I'm a rip-tail roarer for sure. I can wade the Mississippi without getting wet, out-holler a mountain lion, and dance down any fellow in Arkansas or Texas. And my granddaughter's just like me," she said with a wink at Sue.
Guess what, guys? I can read this fast. You see? La, 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 la,
That's
la.
pretty fast. Sue laughed, but her mother and father sat stiff and pale. "I've got to be getting back to my own place," said Pecos, "but I'd sure like to visit you again if it's all right." "I'd like that," Sue said, blushing prettily. "Gal knows a good thing when she sees it," said Sue's grandmother, winking at Pecos this time. So Pecos would ride over to Sue's every evening from the Perpetual Motion Ranch, and his visiting very quickly turned to courting. He'd call her "My Little Coyote," and he'd bring his banjo to play her songs he'd written just for her. He would do anything for his lady love, almost. Sue often asked, "Will you let me ride Widowmaker?" But he would shake his head. The only person, except me, who tried it was Curly Joe. Widowmaker tossed him onto the top of Pike's Peak. Since then, I don't let anyone ride my horse but me. All right, well, here's Pecos Bill with his mustache he likes to twist. See that? Sue asked again and again, but his answer was always the same. Well, it wasn't long before Pecos asked Sue to be his bride, and she said yes, and the two of them were happy as pigs in a peanut patch.
Peanut patch?
Pecos gave her his rattlesnake whip as an engagement present. "I want a fancy wedding," Sue told her mama and papa, so her bridal gown was sent out from St. Louis, and with it came a brand new bustle made of the finest steel. Sue's grandma looked at the bustle and said, "I ain't never seen such foolishness as that." But when Sue saw herself all dressed up in a looking glass, she was pleased and knew Pecos would be too. On their wedding day, when Sue climbed down from her daddy's carriage at the Perpetual Motion Ranch, she looked so grand that Pecos Bill felt he'd burst with pride, while Alcali Ike, Cheyenne Charlie, and all his men clapped and hooted. This made Sue whoop with pleasure, while her father and mother just shook their heads. "Let's get 'em hitched up, Reverend," said Sue's grandmother, "so we can get to the eatin' and dancing part." I think I like her grandma. She sounds pretty fun. Come up here. Then she pounded the preacher so good-naturedly on the back that the poor man was sent spitting into a haystack and had to be rescued by Pecos.
What is Pecos?
Pecos is the guy. Him. That's Pecos Bill.
Bill. Who's a Bill?
When they were married, Sue whispered, "Promise me one thing, Bill." "Just ask me, darling," he said. "I promise." "I want to ride Widowmaker," she said. "And a promise is a promise." So he unhappily went and got Widowmaker. "Look here," said Pecos to his horse. "Sue's my bouncing bride, and you're going to treat her kind and gentle, aren't you?" All right, get up here, KB.
I am.
Nobody can see you. Widowmaker lowered his head and wouldn't look at Pecos. The uneasy feeling in Pecos grew. But over came Sue, and Pecos helped his bride to mount. What happened next depends on who is telling the story. Some claim that Widowmaker had it in for the bride all along. Others say it was Sue's Slue-Foot that turned in and tickled the horse in the ribs.
Ribs.
Uh-oh, I can see where this is going. Whatever the cause, no one can argue the effect. Widowmaker bucked, and before Pecos could cry, "Whoa!" the horse sent poor Sue into the sky. Sue sailed over the mountains, flying so high that she had to duck her head to keep from hitting the moon. When she'd gone as high as she could and started back down to earth, she saw Pecos holding out his arms to catch her. But just when she felt safe, the wind caught hold of her fancy bustle and sent her into another direction so that she hit the side of a distant mountain. The bustle acted like a big spring and she bounced sky high. Well, poor Sue kept on bouncing between the earth and the moon all day, while Bill ran every which way trying to catch her. Uh-oh, there's Widowmaker.
Who's Widowmaker?
That's a horsey.
Who's the horse? Oh, I see. Where's the people on it? I see the
She's
shoe.
bouncing between earth and moon right now.
I see the shoe.
Uh-oh, and there she is.
And this spelled and this, so I'm going to clean it up.
Sue's folks fainted dead away on her first bounce, but her grandma only said, "I knew that thing was trouble." "Save me!" Sue cried. She was getting sore and so hungry that she started breaking off bits of the moon's green cheese every time she passed it, so that the moon went from full to crescent in no time. When she'd lost count of how many times she'd bounced, Sue suddenly got an idea. She tried signaling Pecos to lasso her by circling her arm. Do you guys know what lassoing means? So he's getting his rope, and he's going to try to lasso her. He's going to try to catch her and bring her back down. Let's see if it works.
So her don't hit her head or die.
Let's see if it works.
Yep.
But Pecos thought she was bravely waving to him. "That's a gal with real spunk," he said, and waved back. And so did all the other cowboys. The faster Sue circled her arm, the more cheering and waving came from Pecos Bill and his men. "No, no, no," shouted Sue, who was getting angry and hoarse from all of her yelling. The wind and the bustle kept her going in as many different directions as popcorn on a hot griddle. Finally, Sue's grandma, who had been making bets with Alkali Ike and Cheyenne Charlie about where Sue would land each time, and winning, figured out what her granddaughter was signaling. She yelled to Pecos, "Lasso the child!" Pecos ran for his rope, shook out the noose, and whirled it around his head in ever-growing circles, faster and faster. Then zip! He let it fly, his eyes glued to his bride. The rope shot out true as an arrow. The noose slipped neatly over Sue's shoulders and tightened around her waist. So he pulled her in. He thought Sue would be happy, but she was tired and angry and feeling foolish. She gathered up her mother and father and grandmother and drove off in the carriage, leaving Pecos Bill and his crew staring after them. When the family got back to the ranch, Sue's mama and papa decided they'd had enough of the wildlife and wanted to move back east. Sue, who was still mad as a hornet, decided to go with them. So Sue's just up and leaving her new husband, Pecos Bill,
And this is east.
And Widowmaker the horsey.
And this is east. And that's west, south.
Technically, that's north.
North.
On
east,
a compass, north, south, east, west. So she's leaving her husband. She's leaving Widowmaker. She's leaving all her wedding guests. She's moving back to the east with her mama and papa and her grandma, right?
Why that squirt on me?
Oh my goodness. When they reached the banks of the Mississippi River, Sue's grandmother asked her, "How much sense you got, girl?" "Enough to know beans from buzzards' tails," Sue answered. "Enough to know when you're making a dilly of a mistake?" "Sure enough," cried Sue, hugging the old woman. Then, while her mother and father stared in disbelief, Sue whistled up the biggest Mississippi catfish, threw a strap around it, and set off for New Orleans and the Gulf of Mexico. So now she's leaving her mama and papa, taking off on another catfish, right? Mm-hmm. Wonder where she's going to go. Well, it says she's setting off for New Orleans and the Gulf of Mexico, so we'll see where she ends up. Yeah. Where the freshwater river met the saltwater sea, she changed mounts, heading for Texas on the back of a whale. When she reached Texas, she bought herself a raring, tearing, snorting horse and set out for the Perpetual Motion Ranch. There, Alkali Ike told her, "Bill couldn't stay on the ranch without you. He took off into the mountains, and we haven't seen hide or hair of him since." Uh-oh. So now he's missing. He was sad without his bride, and now we don't know where he's at.
And my dad left me.
That's okay.
My dog.
Sue quickly picked up Pecos Bill's trail into the hills. After a day and a night tracking him, she found Pecos and Widowmaker trapped in a box canyon by an army of the biggest, meanest-looking coyotes she'd ever seen. Even if Pecos had been in good spirits, the coyotes would have been something to reckon with. But the spirit had gone out of him when Sue left, so he's sad and depressed. The old Pecos returned fast enough when he saw Sue come charging down into the canyon, cracking the rattlesnake whip he had given her. Then Pecos fired his gun into the air, and the two of them chased the coyote army all the way into the Badlands. After that, they lived for a time on a ranch they built just west of the Pecos River. But one day, Sue turned to Pecos and said, "The West is getting too tame for the likes of old me."
What's old me?
"I could use a little more excitement myself," Pecos agreed. So they set off together in search of adventure to the Argentine and Australia and Africa and all sorts of places. And the word is they're traveling to this day. So here is the grandma.
I'm silly wiggle wiggy.
And here's Sue on her horse trying to find Pecos Bill. So, do you guys think it would be fun to ride on a catfish?
Wait, it's at the end.
Do you guys think it'd be fun to bounce between the moon and the earth? I don't know about that.
We do read this one.
And I really don't know about riding on a catfish. They're really slimy.
We didn't read this one.
No, we haven't read that one yet. That'll be tomorrow.
This one?
Yeah.
So
but we do like riding on horses, right, KB?
Mm-hmm. Wait, this one don't have words.
Yeah, that's just the picture of that story. What was your favorite part of that story that we just read?
Bookie?
Nothing? Nothing? That's always your response to all the stories that we read. Yeah. What was your favorite part? You have to have a favorite part, right? Or did you just not like the book at all?
Mommy, you can tell them to subscribe and the like button white.
Well, I want to hear what your favorite part of that story was.
I'm looking.
Right here it is. That was the horsey that she bought. That was her grandma, remember? That was her bouncing between moon and earth. My favorite part was Pecos Bill's mustache. How cool would it be to have a weird, crazy mustache? You could twist.
I'm gonna think what you like. So I didn't know what you liked in the story, so I'm gonna think.
I want to know what you like.
You can't tell me.
Okay.
I think you like the mustache.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. You're
What
so
do you-
good.
What do you think I like?
Probably the catfish. Riding on the catfish really fast in the river.
No.
KB likes to be a little river rat during the summertime.
I don't like that.
Don't you?
I don't like that.
You don't? We like camping out.
I like this.
Her horsey?
Mhm.
Cool.
I don't like the snake.
No. No, not the
I do
rattlesnake
like the-
whip.
Yeah, I do like the snake. I do like snakes, but I don't like them biting. Even poison snakes.
No, definitely not poisonous snakes.
Because when you touch poison, you're gonna die.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get bit by one, you could die.
And I'm gonna show you.
All right,
something.
guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed this story. That's porcelain, honey. Put it back on your dresser. We hope you enjoyed the story. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you share, like, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified whenever we have a new story coming out. We try to do a couple each week. So just hit the notification bell so you can be notified. We don't want you guys to miss a story that we read. Kitty wants to share that with you guys.
Okay, I'm gonna get my.
It's a great way to fall asleep.
I'm gonna get my wiggles out.
Do you guys have a music box at home? All right, guys.
Feel.
Have a good night. Love you.
Look,
Good night. Mwah.
I'm actually wiggling. What? Here. Feel me.
Crazy girl.
Bye.